Let us gather to enjoy our prelude.
Good morning. So beautiful to be here. Let's bless this space. I do something called looping, and you'll hear me adding layers as I go, one at a time. It's all happening live and in real time. Please bless this space. Please bless this space. Please bless this space, this sanctuary, all around, below, above. Please bring us peace and protection. May all who enter be nourished with love. Alleluia, amen. Oh, blessed be, allow it in. Alleluia, amen. Oh, blessed be, so it is. Please bless this space, this sanctuary, all around, below, above. Please bring us peace and protection. May all who enter be nourished with love. Alleluia, amen. Oh, blessed be, allow it in. Alleluia, amen. Oh, blessed be, so it is. Please bless this space, this sanctuary, all around, below, above. Please bring us peace and protection. May all who enter be nourished with love. Alleluia, amen. Oh, blessed be, allow it in. Alleluia, amen. Oh, blessed be, so it is. Please bless this space, this sanctuary, all around, below, above. Please bring us peace and protection. May all who enter be nourished with love. Alleluia, amen. Oh, blessed be, allow it in. Alleluia, amen. Oh, blessed be, so it is. Please bless this space, this sanctuary, all around, below, above. Please bring us peace and protection. May all who enter be nourished with love. Alleluia, amen. Oh, blessed be, allow it in. Alleluia, amen. Oh, blessed be, so it is. Please bless this space, this sanctuary, all around, below, above. Please bring us peace and protection. May all who enter be nourished with love. Alleluia, amen. Oh, blessed be, so it is.
Celia Farren, everybody. That was beautiful. Hard to believe that so much can come out of one person. Good morning and welcome to South Valley Unitarian Universalist Society. My name is Court. My pronouns are he, him. I'm a tall, overweight, white man with short hair and a beard. It's my privilege to serve as the worship associate today. Celia Farren is going to be enchanting us with multiple songs today. So that was our prelude. She'll also be playing the offertory and the postlude. And if you like what you hear, you're encouraged to stay after the service today. There'll be a concert and some light fare provided by, the concert will be provided by Celia and the light fare will be provided by Cups. So while we're still beginning, let us take a moment to acknowledge and welcome those who are with us in our online community. Everybody turn to the camera and wave hi. You're with us. We've been on a wellness journey, and so you can see there are multiple items on the altar. These represent different items that we've collected on this wellness journey. Today we'll continue our series with thoughts on spiritual well-being. To me, it is a wonder and a mystery that our paths have crossed, that in the immensity of time and the vastness of space, we coincide here. I am in awe at the ways in which our lives intersect and intertwine, at the beauty we create when we gather. May our coming together make us more compassionate, more just, more loving, and more aware of our souls. Let us marvel at the miracle of being here, right now, and at the mystery with a capital M that has brought us together. If I may speak humbly for all those who are involved in organizing this service, and there are a lot more than you think, we are so glad that you are here. Welcome. So I have a few announcements. Our religious transition group will meet at 1:30 today. It'll be after Celia Farren's concert. The suggested donation for Celia Farren's concert is $20, but all are welcome and contributions of any amount are appreciated. Next week, we'll have a flower communion. So if you can, please bring a flower. It could be hand-clipped or store-bought. We'll place those on the altar as part of the flower communion service. If you want to know more about the goings-on at South Valley and you consider yourself new, welcome. We're glad you're here. You're encouraged to get connected by signing up for our weekly newsletter, Happenings. This is best done through our website. Let us take a moment to fully arrive and welcome one another with joy. You're welcome to stand and greet your neighbor. Say hi. Please remain standing. As we light our chalice, receive these words of invocation in the form of a poem written by John Cooper. I do not remember the start. What was it like? Unity? Knowing? I have stood at the edge of darkness, screaming into the space between the skies, burning with hungry questions. Are you there? Why did you leave us so alone, so separate? What I see in a mirror, not always pleasing. Sometimes it even disturbs me. It can be hard to see your reflection there. Then I hear the others, really hear them, really see them. When I can listen, when my own shadow is not covering my ears and blinding my eyes. Is that you talking there? So passionate, so many different eyes, ears, so many ways to see the world, incredible songs, dance, incredible voices, songs, dance. Such difference, such dissonance, like a chord waiting to be resolved, just hanging there, everyday thread, ringing together their small voices, sounding out greater than their part. The shards are everywhere, every voice, each gaze, every heart. And I wonder why we all don't see it. We fight, like you are hiding from yourself in all that noise. What kind of game is this? We disagree, strike out, bob, weave, hedge, avoid, la, 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 I cannot hear you. How is it that in our disagreement, we fail to hear the music, the cacophonous sound singing, here I am, you wanted me. Can you not hear me? Can you not see me? Right or wrong, up or down, side or side, each religious text, every single sacred word, each disagreeing vision, all that noise, every noisy voice, cluster of movement cries out to be beloved, to be cherished, loved, like every dissonant heart.
It's for him.
Thank you. It's always something to hear your words read. Let's light our chalice.
Atla, can you come forward?
Those at home are invited to light a chalice and share in this ritual by entering "chalices lit" at the name of your street and where you are in the chat box on Zoom. Please join me in repeating our chalice lighting words and using our actions if you wish. We light this chalice
For the warmth of love, for the light of truth, and for the energy of action.
Thank you. And now, please be seated. It is our time for all ages.
Hey, you guys. So would all those who are young or young at heart who would like to come up front and sit to have a story, come on up, grab a cushion, find a good spot. All right, you guys. Well, today we have a story here. My name's Sutton. We have a story called Everything is Energy, including you. All right, so let's take a look at this. All right, so what is energy? Energy makes living things move, and nature has lots of different energy. Our sun gives us energy in light and heat. We get energy to do things from wind and water. Right? She's flying a kite. Can you see the sailboat? How's the sailboat move? Energy from the wind. Good. All right. And we can get energy from other things. We can burn for fuel, right? We can burn wood for fuel, keep us warm, or cook things, right? Even our planet and the sun have energy fields around them like bubbles. Did you guys know that? Yeah. Kind of cool, right? Everything is energy. So, how do we use energy? Well, a tree gets its energy from the sun to be able to grow, right? And we can put gas in our cars to give it energy to go. And some cars are electric, right?
So they use electricity.
Right, and some are hybrids where they use some of both. We can eat and drink to fuel our bodies. We have to have fuel for our bodies, right? And give them energy to do things. You see that? He's like eating some spaghetti and meatballs, and he's thinking of playing with his dog. And what's the dog thinking of?
Spaghetti and
Spaghetti and meatballs, right? He's like, I want that. Yeah. So, yeah. So why do we need energy? Why do we need energy? Well, we need energy to run and play and kick a ball or ride a bike, right? We need energy to read a book or watch a movie or to sit in a comfy chair or lie down. We even need energy to sleep and to dream. What is he dreaming of? Can you see it? He's on a dragon. Who likes dragons? I love dragons. Love dragons. All right. So what affects our energy? This is really important, right? Because we don't always feel the same all the time, do we? Sometimes we feel great, and sometimes we don't. Sometimes things happen and it changes how our energy feels. So, how does your energy feel when you are tired? Right?
lazy.
How's your energy feel when you're hungry? Do you get hangry? That leads us to our next one. How does your energy feel when you're mad?
Out of control.
Out of control. I like that. Right? That's a good description. How does your energy feel when you're happy?
Excited. Good.
Right? Kind of bubbly. How does your energy feel when you're loved?
Happy.
Oh, really good. Yeah, kind of warm. How does your energy feel when you're sad?
I think it's the best.
Is it double thumbs down? Okay. Yeah. Oh, it's kind of in between. Sometimes it's okay to feel sad. Sometimes we need to feel sad, right? Yeah. So we can use our thoughts to change our energy. Do you guys know that? Let me say that again, because that is a really important thing that all of us need to remember, right? We can use our thoughts to change our energy. So, there's sometimes when we're thinking of something that makes us really unhappy. Maybe it's a sad memory. Maybe it's something somebody did that hurt our feelings, right? Or maybe it's some sad news. And then we notice how we feel when we have that. Do we see this? This is kind of a sad picture. Do you see what she discovered? Her fish died. That's sad, huh? That's sad, right? And so we have thoughts that bring our feelings up. And so when we think about certain things, it can change the way we feel. So if we want to change the way we're feeling, we have to change our energy, and we change our energy by changing our thoughts. Yeah. So now think of something that makes you happy. What makes you guys happy? What makes you happy?
Playing my Switch.
Playing your Switch,
Cuddling.
cuddling.
Playing with my dog, who is basically crazy.
I love it. I love it. Very nice. Ice cream. That is what they say in here. Look at that. Think of something that makes you happy, like ice cream. It must make a lot of people happy if they put it in here, right? Right? Now notice when you think about that happy thing, do you feel like you have more energy when you even just thinking about it? Isn't that cool? Thoughts of love and thankfulness can give us the best energy, right? When we think about love and being thankful for things. So how can we share our energy? This is kind of cool. When our energy is good,
Hey,
we can,
having fun.
it's okay, you can share, right? So when our energy is good, we can share it with others, right? Like you would share a favorite book. Isn't that cool? So when you've got good energy and you see somebody that might need some good energy, you can share it. We can give our energy with our hands, right? By holding hands. We can give our energy just by thinking happy thoughts about our family and friends. Isn't that cool? And sharing our energy doesn't take any energy away from us. How does that work? That's pretty cool, right? Because we get our energy from the universe, so there's no limit on how much energy we can give. So how do we keep our energy strong?
That's a good question.
It is. Well, they've got some ideas. I think it's an excellent question. So just like a flower needing things every day to grow strong, like the sun and water and good air and good soil, we need to do things every day to practice keeping our energy strong, right? Can you guys start imagining things that might keep our energy strong? Look at this. When we practice things that we like, right? We get better at doing them and it brings us energy. So we run when we want to be faster, right? My nephew loves running. For his birthday last year, he wanted two things: bearded dragon and to go run in the zoo run in Chicago. And he was 8 years old. And he did it because that's how much he loves to run, and it gave him all this energy, right? We lift weights when we want to be stronger, right? Or maybe we do some yoga, right?
I love yoga.
I love yoga too, so much. We study hard when we want to be smarter, right? We read, we research, we study up on things. And we practice making music when we want to sound better, right? Do you guys like making music? Yeah? Yeah. So just like everything else, we need to practice working with our energy if we want it to be stronger. So, oh, my voice. Okay. So the cool thing is, our church now has a copy of this book, and at the back of the book, there are a bunch of really cool exercises that you guys are going to get to practice sometime. All right? So be thinking about how you build energy and how you share energy, and there'll be some really cool things for you guys, okay? We're gonna sing you downstairs, I think, and also the youth group is meeting downstairs today. So yeah, thank you guys so much. Think about that good energy, right? Share that good energy. Thanks, you guys. Appreciate you.
Mystery, dissonance, spirituality, energy, these are difficult subjects that are challenging to take on alone. And believe me, I've tried. This haven, this refuge, this place of wonder and questioning makes the most difficult topics like vulnerability, loneliness, and even self-love more manageable. It exists because we make it so with our contributions, the gifts of our time, our talent, and our treasure. Please join me in giving so that we may continue to have a place that fortifies us and makes us more whole. For our split plate offering for May and June, South Valley will share funds with the Utah Investigative Journalism Project. South Valley believes that government is more accountable, effective, and representative when a healthy free press is able to examine its actions and share them with the public. The Utah Investigative Journalism Project partners with newspapers and broadcast media on difficult, in-depth stories, helping these institutions continue their historic role as government watchdogs and defenders of the poor and oppressed. They also work to train and educate local journalists in the practice of investigative journalism by providing reporting workshops for rural papers, student journalists, and major news outlets. Please join me in reading our offertory words. They are printed in your order of service. We are this church.
We are its hands, its heart, its voice. Together we share the wealth of this community and sustain it without prejudice.
We will now accept the offering. For those at home, you are invited to use the giving link in the online order of service, and I invite the ushers to come forward at this time. Celia's going to play a song called For the Asking.
As I prepare for the asking, as I lose sight to be a seer, as I lay down my words and weapons, the voices of the winged ones ring clear. As I bring forth all the joy of a heart song, the gods and the goddesses appear. As I kiss the earth and touch the sky, as I let go to be here, as I surrender as a beautiful vessel, the voices of the winged ones ring clear. As I remember, choose love, The gods and the goddesses are here.
For all we have received and all we have found the courage to give, may we be truly thankful. May these gifts be a blessing to South Valley and to the Utah Investigative Journalism Project. May it be so. I'm going to ask you all to sing again at the beginning of the sermon. I'm not even going to introduce myself yet. So let's pick up the gray hymnal, number 1, please. And we are going to sing a blessing. Celia already blessed this space this morning. And if you would rise and body your spirit, join us in singing. Let's sing a blessing for this community together. And then we'll talk about it. Thank you. Be seated, please. Good morning. I'm Reverend John Cooper. I am a longtime member of this community and a fully ordained and fellowshipped UU minister whose ministry is at the Huntsman Cancer Institute as a multi-faith hospital chaplain. I am a giant white dude who happens to be physically disabled, who has a huge presence, strong sense of authority, and one of my favorite ways to use that is to interrupt things in healthcare. After our service today, we will enjoy a postlude. We will be skipping the closing hymn in the interest of time and flow. It didn't feel quite right this morning, so it's gone. After the service, there'll be the normal hospitality service downstairs. All right. There also will be some light fare upstairs. All right, and get your food quickly and join us for Celia's concert, please, right after the service. Should be amazing. About once a year, to recognize the affiliation and support that I get from this community, it's my responsibility and honor to deliver a sermon from this pulpit. When I get to do that, I try to bring reflections, learning, thought from the halls of healthcare into this community. And today is a big intersection day. There's a lot of meaning come together today. First, we have Celia here, a very compelling artist, adding beauty and meaning to our worship. Today is also Cinco de Mayo, an important day for those of Mexican-American heritage. And I admit I am no expert. My knowledge is very limited, and I'm not of Mexican descent. So I'm pretty unfamiliar with the history, but I think I can say from my limited knowledge of Cinco de Mayo that it celebrates liberation through the defeat of Second French Empire's forces. And while I may not know much of the history, the traditions, I do know that liberation is worthy of our celebration. Lift your hearts to celebrate Cinco de Mayo. Even as we celebrate today, I also think it's important for us to pause and recognize that today our world is full of unrest, suffering, and pain. There are people of many cultures and heritage protesting the violence of governments around the world. And let me say, in my understanding of existence, governments are not people. Governments are systems of people that must serve people. And for me, that means anytime a government causes death or destruction of people, they have fundamentally failed in their purpose, in their very purpose of existence. And we, the people, owe it to each other and to the systems themselves to hold them accountable with courage. I can and I do set my heart against any government or regime that dehumanizes, demoralizes, and kills people to pursue its goals. Whether those actions are taken by Israel, by Hamas, or by my own government, the ideology, the politics are less important to me than the actions a government takes to pursue them. I've never set my heart against the people, though. All such systems are meant to govern and serve. Nations are not people, they are systems of organization and sometimes control. While such systems may be necessary in our world, they may be a natural part of human identity, a way to manage the volume of human beings on this earth. Systems help us organize, cooperate, protect our shared concerns. But for me, those systems are always accountable to the people. And I mean accountable to all the people they include and serve, not just a few people in roles of power. I believe the very purpose of governments, of systems of people, is to build up our world, to create more grace, more compassion, more caring, and more sharing. The reason for our organization is so we can take care of each other. That is the meaning I assign to them. The very purpose of human collaboration, of organizing, in my meaning, is to care for one another. And when any system tries to convince me otherwise, I find it to be gaslighting in the most disturbing way. Some demonic evil that twists marketing and messaging to try and tempt me and convince me that my meaning is somehow wrong. Even if I understand the political issues, history, context, reason, even if I know the reasons people may give, my meaning remains. I believe any system that tries to convince me that somehow more harm will teach people to do less harm is made up of the very Pharisees and hypocrites that Christ talks about over and over. And I say this, any who claim the alienation, the destruction is necessary, they are no followers of him. I will say that again. Anybody that claims the alienation, the destruction is necessary, they are not following Christ or his teachings. He never justified causing harm. And I'm not sure Christ even wanted a Bible of canonical gospels like the one we have all over the world. That was made by another system. I'm pretty sure he would turn tables over if he got to see the mashup Bible that we have now, which is like gospel plus nationalism, to really mix up his simple message, which is repeated for us today in the immortal words of Bill and Ted: be excellent to each other. All right? And our governments are not currently fulfilling that call to be excellent to each other. So I also want to ask you today to pause with me, and maybe tear up with me. Send your caring to Palestinian people, homeless, destroyed, and grieving, to Jewish people who may be in a war they did not want, to American people trapped by systems that should serve them, to protesters whose role is to draw attention and who are always vilified, sometimes harmed by the systems they resist. Send your compassion and sight to people among all those movements and more, who somehow, and send it to the people who somehow have come to believe that more harm will teach others to do less harm. Pause and breathe with me. Thank you for your heart, soul, and compassion. I admit to my passion. I have a lot of co-passion with a world full of pain and suffering, and these are hard things to contemplate and witness. There are times when the most compassionate thing we can offer is to not turn away. And thank you for sharing that moment with me. Today is also right after the holiday of Beltane, May 1st. Beltane is a really important holiday. It's the other side of the wheel from Samhain. All right, and whereas Samhain comes in the fall and connects us with death and end of life, Beltane comes in the spring and connects us to our understanding of procreation and its passions. Last week's service about sexual well-being was pretty timely. In fall, the whole of creation shows us what dying looks like. And in spring, all of creation is getting it on. And to put it as one of my liberal Christian seminary colleagues said, sex is a gift from God. It is one of the few material things that connects us with God's joy, grace, love here on this earth. Theologically, vilifying sex was an act of control by people from whom God wants us to liberate ourselves. They said something like that. You know, as friends and family often point out, my memory is a much better storyteller than it is a historian. And that quote is cool, isn't it? Somebody probably said it, right? Was that not the meaning of human sexuality that you inherited from your past or from a religious upbringing? That sex is a joyful gift from God we are meant to explore and love? Fortunately for you, we humans define our meaning. Yeah, we're the meaning-making, promise-making, promise-breaking, commitment-making, breaking, deconstruction, reconstruction, hard-working, existential makers of existence around us. We're like a government system almost, right? A metaphorical government of meaning. Maybe we ought to make a department of meaning-making administration. The DMMA. We humans define our meaning personally, but also collectively, which is where it gets a bit complicated, right? Systems are awesome. They do things like build up pyramids that last thousands of years. They heal millions. They feed billions. But all systems have gaps and spaces in between. I remember Dr. Rebecca Parker, a UU theologian, former president of the Starr King School for Ministry, talking about how some people think we UUs have no concept of evil. Yeah, that's false. Not only do we see great evils in the world around us, we also know demons. They are the forces that creep into the spaces that exist between parts of a system. Those demons twist and pervert the very purpose of the system from its real meaning and intention. They turn systems into organizations for oppression, despair, and destruction. And when we humans make collective meaning, sometimes those demonic forces deeply complicate our ability to make blessings for each other out of that meaning. Let's talk about the hymn we just sang for a minute. I wanted to sing May Nothing Evil Cross This Door because it is a blessing. And recognizing blessings is a really important part of spiritual wellness. And because we're meaning making this morning, I thought we'd make some meaning we want for the community, all right? I believe the first verse is about our hope for wellness. May nothing evil cross this door, may ill fortune never pry about these windows, and may the roar of rain go by. The second seems about the warmth of community we hope to share together. By faith made strong, the rafters will withstand the battering of the storm. And this hearth, though all the world grow chill, will keep you warm. The third verse for me is about the sacredness of that community. In the UU world, we call it a beloved community. And we recognize that we create what is sacred and holy. Peace shall walk softly through these rooms, touching our lips with holy wine, till every casual corner blooms into a shrine. And the final verse is about the love we hope those beloved communities can help us share and grow. With laughter, drown the raucous shout, and though these sheltering walls are thin, may they be strong to keep hate out and hold love in. In the sense of the meaning it offers us, that is a deep blessing that we sang together. It's a profoundly spiritual song. It's our meaning and our intention for our community together. Did you hear that word, spiritual? How do we say that in Utah? Spiritual? Is that, I'm not very good at Utonics, I'm sorry. But the word spiritual is one of those words we use all the time, which is also defined often not by our chosen meaning, often defined by meaning we didn't choose. Let's talk about that. In clinical or professional spiritual care, we define the word religion as shared beliefs, rituals or practices, and community, okay? Shared beliefs means they're defined by doctrine or theology for the religion, but also by cultural themes and shared assumptions in the religious system. Rituals or practices like the observance of a holiday, say Beltane, Christmas, or Easter, or more personal rituals like prayer. But also rituals done in community, like the words we say for our offering. And we define religion as community also because it's a way we gather, or it's a center we gather around. In contrast, we define the word spirituality with a different set of definitions. Connection, where we feel connected to themes beyond ourselves and the world around us. Meaning, the meaning that we assign to events and to the world around us. And purpose, how our sense of connection, meaning, and belief defines who we think we are in that world. Spirituality is incredibly vulnerable. And think about what we just did with that song. We just declared meaning together in a hymn. I even went so far as to state meaning from the pulpit, which helped bring us all on the same page. We just defined the words religion and spirituality in a way that I saw a lot of people nodding. And I suspect now we share more meaning in those words than we shared before that moment. We make that meaning. We set that purpose. And in doing so, we create connection and community. In my profession, that's how we define spirituality. Spirituality is our sense of who we are and who we think we want to be in the world. What meaning we see in the events around us. You'll notice that that is not a supernatural definition of either spirituality or religion. That is really important in my work. All right? Because all of us humans have a spiritual experience of life, right? But not all of us humans have a supernatural experience of life or even a religious experience of life. Part of health and well-being, in every dimension we seek it, is engaging with challenges and not falling into avoidance. Avoidance is a powerful tool that humans use when we need a break. I literally just said to somebody yesterday, yes, the patient is like trying to plan their narcotics with their Benadryl push to avoid the, yes, because it's making them high. Because they have incurable cancer, and getting high when you're facing off against incurable cancer is a pretty good vacay. But avoidance is not suited for every situation, and when it, like many tools, when it's overused, it doesn't do the job as well. If you always use a hammer, you're gonna have a hard time putting in a screw. The avoidance cycle is also part of our survival mechanism, right? When we choose to avoid something in our world, our body rewards us by pumping out survival level hormones going, oh, wow, good job, you could have died there. And our system does not know the difference between a social threat, like having to stand up in a pulpit and talk about some personal stuff, and a real survival threat like meeting a tiger outside while you're leaving that pulpit. And to help people engage with their own spirituality, theist or non-theist, to help them stay out of that avoidance cycle related to religious pain and historical trauma, we need definitions of words like spirituality or religion that are very inclusive. When I work in the hospital, one of the things I always try to do is introduce myself as a chaplain to the folks whose preference is listed as atheist. Why would I do that? I've even had some other professions tell me that it's intrusive. I've had nurses tell me, why would you go there? It's because I want atheists who are facing cancer to know they don't have to believe in God to be spiritual beings. I don't want to invite them to question any assumptions that would keep them from accessing their own spirituality as a resource for coping with their cancer. Let me tell you about one. In the hospital, I met a young atheist patient. And when I introduced myself, I said that I wanted to meet them because I didn't want to assume they didn't want my services support. They found that interesting enough to invite me to sit down. They told me about their faith history. It was a story full of pain and trauma and suffering, feelings of abandonment and loss of relationship. They told me about the assumptions others had projected onto them much of their life that did not fit who they are. Maybe some of you have had that experience. Something in the world around you projecting meaning at you, maybe a religion, something else. That just didn't fit who you are, but which you had projected onto you anyway. We have all had that experience. It is an acutely painful experience, isn't it? And as this atheist patient got to talking about their life now without their faith of origin, I asked one question. Do you need God to be spiritual? They looked at me curiously with a bit of shock. They said, I think so. Don't you? I don't know. I think there's a few billion Buddhists in the history of the world that might think differently. That created some silence for a bit. And then they asked me if I thought Taoists believed in God, because maybe they could be Taoist and atheist. Mic drop. Off we ran to the deconstruction and reconstruction races. You know those races, right? I think they made a Schoolhouse Rock about that, like deconstruction, junction, what's your function, right? My memory says that was the song. I think it's better that way. Anyway, I said that if one is bound by an anthropomorphic assumption about God, then I don't think Taoists can be deists, since the Tao is formless. But I guess whether Taoists believe in God or not depends on one's concept of God. And I asked the patient what they believed. They believed in the Force and thought maybe Taoism was the closest earthly belief system. I hear Jedi are kind of sneaky like that sometimes, They sneak into like imperial bases, cloning centers, and apparently also theology. Our newborn atheist was still letting some history they wanted to leave behind define their current spirituality. The conversation got even more fun. We talked about what prayer without God might look like. What if you just spoke to existence like it was a friend? I said. They liked that idea a lot, and they laughed a lot and said, maybe it didn't matter if God existed or not, since their friends don't really listen to them anyway. And they still friends, so, Then they wondered if the Force has ears that hear or not, right? If anybody's read some of the non-canonical Gospels, right? What my patient had joyfully realized right in front of me is that their sense of spiritual connection to creation had survived having to kill God. I don't know about you, but I find killing God's kind of traumatic sometimes, Like, I've had to kill a few gods on the way, a few Buddhas on the road here and there too, when I met them. That's the saying, right? When you meet a god on the road, kill it. My memory, you know? But I've had to kick a few gods to the curb here in my journey as well. Now, when that atheist patient discharged from the hospital, I got a thank you note under my office door that said something like, "Chaplain John, thank you. I feel like an entire world of coping I thought was lost is open again. Things that I thought were gone are reborn." So cool, right? And then the big reveal and reward for this chaplain: "I feel much more prepared to face my cancer. Thank you." Right? That was a note. Or maybe there wasn't any note, you know? Stories, metaphors, my memory. Like the spoon, there was no spoon in the Matrix, right? Maybe there was no note. The saying could be like, do not try to read the thank you note. Only try to realize the truth. There is gratitude. All right. The best thing about that visit is I don't feel like I did very much, you know? Seriously, all I did was ask a few questions, question a few obvious assumptions. They did the rest, all that heavy emotional lifting, the existential work of deconstruction and reconstruction, some serious spoon-bending, mind-altering type stuff. That was all them. They were bending the spoon. Sure, yeah, I showed up, hung out, offered them a non-judgmental space, cultivated over years with thousands of hours of training, study, to give them a presence unlike most others in this world, full of holy, sacred curiosity and unconditional positive regard and devoid of judgment, built up with compassion-related meditation, reflection, constant effort. So maybe I did a little something, right? But all I really did was prepare for the moment, and then show up for that moment and bring my preparation. Offer them the best I could of my resilient, loving soul, and they did all the rest. I want to introduce another concept here, all right? I want to introduce from Dr. Carey Doring's theoretical work on postmodern pastoral care. Dr. Doring named a highly functional theory around embedded versus chosen belief. Has anyone ever heard of assumptive bias? You know what assumptive bias is, right? It's when you don't see something because your assumptions are hiding it from you, okay? I recently had that opportunity at the Utah State Legislature, right? I went up there to speak against a bill that would have put untrained chaplains in public schools, okay? And it was a very interesting experience. There were 11 of us that spoke out against the bill, right? And there were no members of the public who spoke in favor of it, so of course it passed 3-2. While I was at the microphone, I used that big white boy presence and voice to refuse to stop speaking when the red light went off and all the senators started trying to speak over me. And I was just like, assumptive bias is alive and well in this chamber. I finished when I finished, right? And it was interesting because this senator followed me out. She was a Democratic senator. And usually I support policies and decisions that, you know, but when she followed me out, she had voted against it. She was one of the two. And it didn't pass Senate, so don't be all alarmed. All right, it was passed committee out to the Senate for the vote, and the Senate went, whoa, what? So, you know, all right. But this senator followed me out and said, I just want you to know I have the utmost respect for you and what you do. I thought that was odd because it seemed like, right, the Democratic senator hadn't listened to me at all. So I said, thank you. It's very important to develop competency in spirituality. She interrupted, spoke over me to say, how would you develop competency in spirituality? And I went, well, actually, we have 37 different competencies in board certification that train us to. And she went, I just wanted you to know I respect what you do. I shook her hand and walked away in bewilderment, right? Turns out, I mean, I was kind of proud of her because it turns out it is possible to interrupt the giant, big-voiced, Hughes, present charisma white guy. And I was like, that part was cool, right? I'm not used to being spoken over. It's always kind of exciting. But I walked over to my colleagues and said, how does one respect what one isn't curious about at all? Curiosity is a response to difficulty, right? It's a way we extend an invitation to spiritual growth out to challenges in our world, right? I have heard it called sometimes sacred curiosity. Let me come back to what Dr. Doring says about embedded and chosen beliefs. I was facing off against that senator's embedded beliefs about who I was and what I do. And sometimes there is just very little you can do to interrupt embedded beliefs. And what are they? What are embedded beliefs? They're beliefs you inherited without awareness. You don't know you have them. They're part of the paradigm. They're part of the way the world looks. You don't know you have them. You just see the world through them. Your embedded beliefs are what define the absolutes you see, like your belief that oppression by governments is wrong. That's an embedded belief. There are those whose embedded beliefs say that oppression by governments is necessary. Or a senator's belief that a chaplain is about religion and that you can't have secular, open competencies in religion. Or that spirituality is a religious experience, not a human one. Like all of us, you've inherited embedded beliefs about this world, about what's true, right, just, fair, about who you're supposed to be. Beliefs you inherited like messaging in your childhood, like some Jedi using mind powers on you. Sounds kind of creepy. Do me a favor right now. Don't fall into avoidance right now. Stay tuned in. Because what happens when we start to think about our embedded beliefs is pretty quickly we're distracted by something. And that's your avoidance cycle. It's really powerful and highly effective. So, you inherited these beliefs through a well-documented process that social science calls enculturation, which is the gradual acquisition of characteristics and norms of a culture or group by a person or another culture or group. When we say human beings are tribal, group-oriented beings, enculturation is part of what we mean. We humans define our culture, we co-create that culture, and then we are defined by that culture. And one day, after defining our culture deeply enough together, we come to believe it is reality. Suddenly we believe that things like governments, corporations, markets, and religions, things that we created and that we defined, are as real as the mountains or the air we breathe or the particles that we are made of. And that is the power of naming, people, of meaning making. In Genesis, naming is one of the first gifts given to humanity. And in my mind, it is also among the greatest powers we're given and the most frightening. You are the meaning makers. You define what you see. Sure, it's not as simple as just deciding, I'm going to see this today. Systems are real. They develop their own agendas, and embedded beliefs are systemic. And the process of deconstruction and reconstruction that so many members of this community have gone through to come here is the process of transforming embedded beliefs into chosen ones. Chosen beliefs are beliefs we know we have. Chosen beliefs are beliefs that we have decided align with who we are. Yeah, this one. This slide stood out to me last week. I wanted to show it again today. This is the moment we humans deconstructed and reconstructed the entire meaning of the word beauty in this community. Astonishing. See how powerful we are? Let's use that power to redefine another word while we're sitting here looking at this slide. That word is purity. I am not satisfied with the definition of the word purity as it appears to be embedded in the world around me. I know its origins in Judeo-Christian society. After all, I'm a namer and meaning maker after all. So the origins of that purity concept in Abrahamic thinking, so I'm talking Judaism, Islam, and Christianity, those origins come from Leviticus, what is called the Purity Code or the Holiness Code. And the rules say things like wash your feet, don't eat certain meats, say certain things, be certain people, and so on. And that code is written so that you can be close to God. All right? Did you know Buddhism, Taoism, Hinduism, many other faiths have their own concepts of that type of thing? If my study is honest, which it rarely is, honestly. So if I have embedded beliefs too, so, do the math, right? If my study is honest anyway, well, purity equals closeness to that which is sacred. Purity is authenticity with one's sacred self. That matches more faiths. That matches multi-faith thinking. And it also fulfills the ideas from Leviticus. Right? One of the things that Christ said in the Gospels is, I have not come to fulfill the law, right, but to abolish it. For if you understand love, right, then you no longer need it. That's paraphrasing. We already talked about my memory. So let's bring this home, shall we? I've been listening to a book, Beyond Surviving Cancer and Your Spiritual Journey by Chaplain David McGinley, right? Bingo. Okay. If you want to know what chaplaincy is about or like, or you want to know what using spirituality to deal with cancer or serious illness is like, check out this book. David reads it himself on Audible. David talks about how we have different types of cancer patients, okay? We have a cancer patient who sees cancer as an attack trying to destroy their world, and they have to fight back every day. We just talked about energy and how drained we can feel when we feel angry and overwhelmed. And sometimes they weep over the damage cancer causes, not only to their lives, but to the lives of their loved ones. Sometimes they wake up in the morning with the strength to fight back, to resist that despair. And sometimes on days when their body feels miserable, all they can do is curl up and refuse all therapy that might help them feel better. Another cancer patient might see their cancer as an experience instead of an assault. I've heard some cancer patients tell me their disease is a teacher. And each day they wake up wondering what depth about existence their cancer will show them. Instead of trying to beat their cancer, they wonder when they're going to graduate from class. And while they may also fear death, they know it's the way out of this world. There's only one or two figures in human mythology or history who got to leave through a different portal, all right? Odds say one of us is not going to be one of them. If only I could ascend right in that moment. All right. Many of them, right? All right, so now let me tell you about two cancer patients from my world, and I promise I'm bringing this home in a minute. Well, two. I remember meeting two adult patients the same day, one whose childhood taught them that life is an adventure, full of mishaps and dangers and learning and experiences, and that one cannot experience the joy of life, the awesomeness of creation, without also welcoming the hurt and the loss. An hour later, I met another patient the same age, who came in about the same time, whose childhood taught them that life is hard and that nobody ever has enough resources for anything, and we have to be guarded and constantly vigilant. The first patient spoke to me about arriving in the emergency department, how amazing and hard everyone worked, how much compassion they experienced, how amazing and astonishing hospitals and healthcare is with all the things they can do. The second patient talked about how stressful it was arriving in the ED, how intense everybody was, how busy, how even the IV hurt, how they could not sleep. They spoke with utter horror about how busy and intense hospitals and healthcare are. Do you hear me? Let those who have ears hear. Northwestern University Wellness Center defines spiritual wellness as an expanding sense of purpose and meaning in life, including one's morals and ethics. It may or may not involve religious activity. I want to pause and think about that. We define our meaning, all of it. Yeah, we do it collectively. There's systemic realities. One cannot just say this means that and be done. One has to work for it, stand up for it, be resilient, courageous, engaged, and non-avoidant. One has to be willing to live in the dissonance between the things and find new space there. I am aware of no shortcuts. But on the road to wellness, each and every step seems to deliver results. And as the Mandalorians might say, this is the way. Let us extinguish our chalice and move on with our morning and enjoy our postlude.
So Celia's going to play us one last song called Simple Question. While she's getting set up, why don't we extinguish our chalice?
Yeah, let's stand. Let's stand for the extinction. Let's make some meaning and stand. Rise and embody your spirit. All right, and as we extinguish this chalice, join us in our actions as we extinguish. And the words are in your order of service, probably on the monitor behind me. Are you ready? We extinguish this chalice, but not the warmth of love, the light of truth, or the energy of action. We hold each other in our hearts until we meet again.
Feel free to sit. What a treat to be here. I realize I haven't been here since 2015. Wow, it's good to be back, and I look forward to entertaining you at noon with lots of more looping and fun stuff. This song is about setting boundaries with my embedded beliefs. So when I say the words, get out of my way, I'm talking about my own thoughts that no longer serve me. Sitting in a New York City coffee house, sitting across my friend who speaks his truth all the time. When I'm with him, I always feel much more myself. Right now I'm feeling oh so divine, and today we are talking about our obstacles, anything or anyone who is in our way. And he is teaching me to ask myself this simple question every minute, every second, every hour of every day, and that is, am I shining? 'Cause if I'm shining, then everything is more than okay. If I'm not shining, then I'll be leaving. No, I won't wait another day, and I will tune in. And if you're not helping me to shine, then get out of my way. That's your part, get out of my way. So whatever thought limiting you're having, that's what we are letting go of. Now I'm back at home in my Midwestern town. Monkeys jumping on my back in spinal parade. The light that once shone through my heart is broken down. Mr. Right is wrong and it's too little too late. And then my New York memory comes back to me. My friend, the chuckle in his throat, the twinkle in his eye. And then I am reminded just to ask my simple question. And the question isn't who, what, where, how, why. It's simply, am I shining? 'Cause if I'm shining, then everything's more than okay. If I'm not shining, then I'll be leaving. No, I won't wait another day. I will tune in, and if you're not helping me to shine, then hey, pretty good. You will have another shot at that, don't you worry. Seems to me I'm getting more and more things right. My smile is getting deeper all the time. I walk into a dark room and it still feels bright. And all the goodness in my life I'm claiming is mine. And I never will forget my New York City friend. That time we shone so bright in that cafe. And I will always tune in and I'll ask my simple question every minute, every second, every hour of every day. That is, am I shining? 'Cause if I'm shining, then everything is more than okay. If I'm not shining, then I'll be leaving. No, I won't wait another day. And I will tune in, and if you're not helping me to shine, then there it is. Ooh, I like you. Yeah. Now we'll do it together like this. Just get out of my way. Yeah. Get out of my way. Get out of my way. yourself out of my way.